Say, sit tight. I'm coming. Let's go. Sit tight. I'm setting my privacy settings.
Say, sit tight. I'm coming.
That's something you gotta make sure it's straight, or your videos don't go to where they need to go to. Done. One more thing, and then we'll get started. Hold on a second. Just a second. I want to welcome you to another episode of the Warzone and tell you thank you for taking the time out to tune in. You know, without you good people, I would not have a show. And it's always the topic of discussion that I tell you thank you for tuning in. 3 years strong I've been doing this, man. Different co-hosts, but I'm still standing. It's something heinous going on in Klein ISD. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to share this video. We're going to make this go viral. Now, if you've never been down there to Klein, Texas, nice suburban residential community. Maybe diverse. I don't know. I've never ran through their neck of the woods to even find out. But it seems to be a diverse community. And really nice houses, very expensive communities if you go in the right neighborhoods. But there's this high school. It's Klein Forest High School. Klein Forest High School. And from the day that I set foot in Klein Forest High School, I have seen racism at a level in the school setting that I've never seen in 14 years of being an education advocate. I know some of you Negroes that live out there that don't want me to say nothing. You know, oh, he's lying. No, I'm not lying. I'm not. I went out to represent Miss Shavonda's child. Y'all saw Shavonda on the show. I think it was last week. And when I got there that day, I had to, you got to show your ID at the front door. You can't get into school unless you have your ID. So I showed my ID. I went into the office, and there was this African-American receptionist named Vicky Seymour. Now, Miss Seymour, after I found out, later, has been an employee of Klein ISD for 9 years. Really beautiful attitude. She can kind of brighten up your situation just by dealing with her at the front desk. So when I got there, once I got in, after I showed my ID at the front door, I get in the school. She takes my ID, she runs it through the machine, she scans it, and whether y'all don't know, they not just running you through to give you give you a badge. They're actually checking your background. A lot of y'all didn't know that, but they check your background too to make sure that you can even come up in them schools. So I cleared. I went to my meeting. It didn't work out right. I got up out of there. Later that day, once Vicky Seymour got off work, some kind of way, which my number's public, it's not hard to find. She reached out to me and she told me that she would have to go to HR. I can't remember if it was the same day or the next day, but they were suspending. No, let me stop. I'm going too fast. So the first day I went, she checked me. I got in, blah, 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 blah. I went on. The second time I came back, I showed my ID at the front door. I was running about 5 minutes late for a meeting with Susan Murphy. That's where I'm at. And I went into the office. I had my ID. Hold on a second, because I got it in my pocket now. I had my ID in my hand. And they were rushing me to get into the meeting. So what Miss Seymour did, she went into the system, because I'm in the system. And she printed me a badge because I was already in the system to get me into the meeting. But I had my Texas ID in my hand. That's when she got off work. figured out my number, reached out to me and told me that they were going to suspend her. They were going to suspend her for letting me into the meeting because she didn't check my ID. And I told her that's not right. I said, I had my ID out. She says, I know you had it out and you were following, procedure, which that's what I do when I go to a school. I know a lot of people want to think that, oh, he go and he half cocked. No, you don't get to have some of the meetings that I have going in there half cocked. I'm not scared of anybody, but I know how to conduct myself. So she tell me they're going to suspend her. And normally when they do that, they're going to fire you. So I went to war for Vicky Seymour. I went to war for Vicky Seymour. Now, if I'm wrong, then I'm going to show you a document. Let me go in. Let me make sure that I have it. Okay. I'm going to show you a document. So I went to war for Vicky Seymour. And once I went to war for Vicky, on February 20th, 2023, this is a memorandum to return to duty notice with directives that include the outcome, a summary of events that align with the decision to separate from your duties on campus until the conclusion of an investigation. But my question is now, why would she be under investigation when other people who sit at that front desk do exactly what she's doing? Now, what she does not do, she does not allow you to come into the school if you don't have your ID at the front door. So the very next day, this is how we end up with this letter that I'm showing you. The very next day, I sent somebody to the school with a recorder. They recorded the whole thing. My people tell them at the door they don't have an ID. Vicky's not there. It's an Asian lady that's manning the door now. It's an Asian lady. The Asian lady lets them in the school. This is something Vicky doesn't do. They get to the front desk. All this is on video. And the Asian lady asked her for ID. She said, I don't have my ID. So the Asian lady say, well, I'm going to let you go where you need to go, but next time you need to have it because I could get in trouble. But the black lady the day before, who knew that I had my ID, you took her off her job and then you were going to fire her. So once I got with the district and I presented my evidence, they sends this letter. Specifically, you were placed on administrative leave with pay on February 20th. So for 12 days, this lady was in limbo after you were alleged to have engaged in inappropriate and preventable safety concerns. The report incident caused the need for the investigation to be turned over to the Klein ISD Human Resource Department for further review. The findings regarding your actions with regards to the provided evidence are as follows. Your actions and reasons that you provided for the actions witnessed appear to be traditionally practiced, therefore require district level action that is aligned and appropriate in order to enforce the next steps and actions. Your actions and reasons that were provided for using your choice of actions on a frequently recurring basis were not found to be malintended. Your willingness and ability to move and pivot to wanting to find a solution was noted. Lastly, the evidence at the time proved that several factors would need to be addressed to support safety efforts. The information gathered during this incident creates a need for targeted training for both frequent and isolated incidents for visitors who visit the campus. This recommendation has already been shared with Klein Police Department and Campus Safety and Support. Any changes and updates will be shared in the coming weeks from one of these departments. In conclusion, the information gathered, you did provide proof of inconsistent practices that do not align with district policy and regulation. However, we will be working to ensure these efforts are corrected as soon as possible. After reviewing the information and consulting with the principal, I met with you on February 20th at 8:15 a.m. to communicate that you are approved to return back to work Monday, February 20th. So you removed her for something that everybody does when they sit at the desk. She just happens to be black. So now, today I go to the school because I got a parent I got to help. I'd never met her. We just communicated over the phone. I get to the door. I got my ID. I show my ID. The lady sees another lady in camera view. She say, well, ma'am, do you have your ID? She say, no, I don't. The lady on the other side of the camera, the Asian lady, tells me, well, I can't let you in because she doesn't have her ID. Well, ma'am, what she got to do with me? I ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm here for a meeting. I don't have time for this. Well, that's our procedure. I can't let you in. Now, maybe that is the procedure. That if you're standing at the door and somebody else is there, then you have to present IDs from both people or they're not letting nobody. But something miraculous happened. Up walks a white lady with some Chick-fil-A, and they immediately open the door. She don't show no ID. Here comes the white associate principal who's trying to explain this, and I'm not trying to hear it at that point. So you mean to tell me you gonna let her in the school? She don't have an ID. I got an ID, and you gonna open the door for me? So he was like, yeah, but you need to calm down. Say, man, you undoubtedly don't know who I am. I say, I'm gonna show y'all better than I can tell y'all. So this guy was supposed to be having an appeal hearing with us. But to my knowledge, once I came into the building, everybody that was administration went hid in their offices and closed the door. So we end up with this other associate principal who doesn't have any knowledge of what we got going on. He say, I'm just supposed to compile the information. Now, I clearly understand chapter 37 of the educational code. And part of that educational code states that if you are having an appeal hearing, the person who is saying that this child should go to alternative school, which is the principal, is the person that's supposed to hear the appeal hearing. Well, the principal passed it down to Susan Murphy, associate principal. Okay, if he made her his designee, I can understand that. But once it got to her, she couldn't pass it down. She couldn't pass it down, but she passed it down anyway. So we get into the room to have this appeal hearing. And the first thing that was brought up is that this may be an illegal hearing. Because why would Murphy tell this parent to be here at 11 o'clock and then all of a sudden she's not here for the hearing? So the guy was like, well, this is what they decided to do. And well, no, it ain't what they decided to do. What we're going to do is be decent and in order. And this is in violation of board policy. See, I know the policies. So the thing is at that point, I say, well, look, we can have the meeting, but it's going to be under duress and under protest. Oh, well, we would have to reschedule. Our schedules doesn't work like that. This mom works. I got stuff to do. We here on the day we supposed to be here, and the people that's supposed to have a hearing duck it and dodge it. So I say, I tell you what, let's just do the hearing. And once we do the hearing, I'll see how you rule. I say, because I'm finna tear this up. So he goes through the script. We get the hearing started. He gives the floor to us. I say, I'm cooking a pot of gumbo. This is exactly what I'm about to cook a pot of gumbo. And as I'm cooking it, I'm going to throw ingredients into the pot. Every time I want to add something to this pot of gumbo, I'm going to throw the ingredients in the pot. Well, this kid was supposedly involved in a bench clean brawl, a big gang fight or whatever. They said they identified him by the yellow hoodie that he had on. Now, you administrators that's from Klein ISD that's watching this, I want you to hear this. Because this is what your people cooking up over here to try to run the school to prison pipeline. Said that the kid had done this. So this assistant principal, a black lady, she reads off the statements, 3 or 4 different statements of what was observed. And she says that all of this information came from camera footages and from cell phone footage. Well, here's my first question to y'all. When did a cell phone or a camera write a statement? When they start doing that? So the people whose names are attached to statements never saw nothing with their own eyes. They basically went on supposedly what they saw on the camera. Now, the one thing that I know is that when you start telling one lie, you got to remember, when you start telling lies, the biggest problem you're going to have is you got to remember the first one. That's exactly what I told them. You got to remember the first one. So here's where the problem came in, and I start Swiss cheesing this. Swiss cheesing it. That one, you call the mom on a certain day and said that this kid was not involved. If I can remember the dates right, because I gave the paper to mom. I was taking notes while she was talking. That you called mom on mom called you or you called mom on the 3rd of April. And you told mom that he wasn't in trouble. That you just wanted him to come in and give a statement. Well, mom wasn't comfortable with her child coming in and give any statement. But mom clarified, is my son in trouble? This associate principal said no. She said no. This is what mom has. Now, here's the problem. Y'all watching? You watching Klein ISD? Did you have a clue that mom was recording the conversation? This is what was there. Okay, watch this. So the statement that this same assistant principal wrote was dated the same day that she told mom that the kid didn't do anything. So now your statement and the tape contradict each other. So basically, who told you to write this fictitious statement? Because what I'm going on is what you told the mom. Now, on the 5th, the other principal, associate principal, calls mom and says that he wants her son to give a statement. And she said, you would have to talk to him or however. But the kid was like, he wasn't giving no statement. He's a freshman. He ain't had nothing to do with it. He wasn't giving no statement. Mom again asked this male associate principal, did her son do anything? And they said, no, we just want to see if he can write a statement to help us out. So basically what you wanted him to do was snitch. Now, the reason that the first associate principal said that the kid wasn't in trouble because he just wasn't there. Okay, cool. So now you got 2 associate principals saying that the kid did nothing. On the 6th, the very next day, the second associate principal calls mom back, or I think it was the second, I don't know which, one of the associate principals called mom back and said that her son was being sent to ISS with the possibility of going to alternative school because it was proven now that he was involved in the big fight. Mom said, well, how did you come to that determination? She said, by camera footage. But how could you do that? And I'm skipping a couple of things, but just ride with me. It was proven that one, you told mom in the beginning that you couldn't identify him because stuff was happening too fast on the camera. Well, mom said, could you slow it down? Could you slow the film down and look at it to see if that was my son? She told him there was no way to slow it down. Well, it just so happens that once I got into the school today, I asked for the police to escort me because I no longer felt safe. And in that room was 2 Klein ISD police officers. Well, since you threw the police in the middle of it, I asked the police officer who had spoken to mom about this incident You're investigating this, right? She said, yeah. At any time, did you have a conversation with my client in regards to this big fight that they had? She said, no. That was like over 20 days ago. So if y'all investigating, why hasn't the police talked to my client? Because he was not there. They say that if the film was moving so fast, they couldn't get a still shot of him or nothing. So then what I do? Y'all ready? Y'all advocates out there and activists and all y'all. I'm giving you a lesson tonight. Mom, pull your phone up. Go to that video for me. Well, what was on the video? The actual fight. The actual fight was on the video. I tell her, line it up, make sure it starts at the beginning. We gave it to the associate principal who was in charge of the meeting. Show me where you can identify her son on this tape. That man was looking like, what the hell? Oh, yeah, by the way, I don't play checkers, I play chess. Oh, y'all didn't think we had this video. You didn't think we had this video. So what you did is you went and picked out the first random black boy that you could find to try to throw them out in alternative school like everybody else because he had on a yellow hoodie. But in the video, you could see several black kids with yellow hoodies on. At that point, I looked over there to that lady, the associate principal. I say, ma'am, I'm going to just be straight up with you. Your statement is a lie, and you know it's a lie. I don't know who put you up to this, but what y'all doing to this child, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. I'm not gonna let you criminalize this child because that's not gonna happen. Now, I'm gonna give you a tidbit. I'm gonna give you a nugget since you're watching, and I didn't discuss it in the meeting, but Klein ISD officials that are watching, according to mom, the police officer said her son was never under investigation. So how did you people come up with this determination? This is a prime example of what they do to black children every day at Klein Forest High School. But let's go back to Vicky Seymour. So you saw the letter. They allowed her to go back to work. Am I correct? They allowed her to go back to work. And it was what it was. No evidence. She did nothing wrong. Now, here's the thing. Once she was allowed to go back to work, it was relayed that there would be no retaliation. No retaliation. For all of y'all out there from Klein Forest that's watching me, that nice black lady at that front desk has been being terrorized since Lance Alexander became the principal. Susan Murphy and her henchmen have terrorized this lady. Lance, is it true that your former secretary, who I think is retired now, told this black lady multiple times that she needed 50 lashes on her back? Is it not true that the associate principal that opened the door for me this morning went in and started throwing stuff on Miss Seymour's desk one day? And he's white. Is it not true, Lance? She addressed you. And more importantly, we're in a third-party consent state, Lance. So you were recorded. And we have the proof. You were recorded. So don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about. Did you have a problem with Susan Murphy telling this woman she needs to come out the front office and go work back in the field? House. Oh, hold on. You sending black folks to the field? Is it not true, Lance, that multiple times, well, I'm going to give you one good time, that you tried to kick her like you kicked another black employee? This is what's going on at Klein Forest. Susan Murphy Did a black CTE teacher report to you in February that there was a swastika on her wall in her classroom? Miss Murphy, you promised to send somebody up there to deal with it, and you haven't dealt with it till this day. So now we got swastikas in black folks' classrooms. What the hell is going on in Klein Forest? Is this Klein ISD or is this Vida, Texas? Y'all have been out there traumatizing these black people. But when Vicky got her job back, they said it would be no retaliation. Let me share a screen with you. Hold on. Hold on a second. I got to get this screen correct. Hold on a second. Okay, hold on. Let me go here. Let me go here. And let me go here. I want to open this up real wide. Is it true, Mr. Alexander, that for months and months, you've been having the Asian lady sit next to Vicky Seymour at the front desk trying to set her up for Susan Murphy? I want you to take a look at this document, my good people. And I can go back as far as I need to go. This is to Joe Castle, from Joe Castle to Susan Murphy. Here is my journal for February 22nd. We don't even want to keep talking about right now. This goes back. So what the hell is a journal? Well, what the Asian lady actually does is she sits up with this lady and she writes up a fictitious journal saying what this black woman is not doing. So now we're gonna move forward, okay? And let's see how big I can get this one. See, All right. My internet went haywire. Okay, it's coming back up. Let me go back into the studio.